We'll go to Brian Steinberg with Variety, and then Matt Baker with the Tampa Bay Times.
Thanks very much. Because I was just curious to give a little more detail on the ABC broadcast last year. It was a little more, celebrity-oriented, glamour-oriented with Robin Roberts and Taylor Swift. What will you be able to do this year, and how are you kind of differentiating it from the ESPN NFL Network broadcast?
Yeah, good question. I think, yes, last year we did have a little more of the celebrity factor. It's not appropriate to do that this year, in our opinion. We will have some brief appearances from some ABC folks during the show, but for the most part, what we're looking at is, and we did this last year, is we believe we differentiated by really focusing on the player journeys and getting to know the individual players much more than you get to know them on the ESPN NFL Network side. Not to say that you don't get to know them somewhat on that side, but this is where we really can spend more time getting their backgrounds, their stories. There's so many amazing stories that we can stop, and when they get drafted, kind of park there and spend a few minutes telling the audience where they came from. We had some amazing results last year as far as who was watching the ABC broadcast. We saw such a lift in the amount of women that were watching and more casual fans, and that just goes to, kind of when you do something on a broadcast network versus an ESPN or an NFL network, you're going to get a broader audience. So, we think that storytelling that we're going to continue to do will be kind of the biggest difference. And we had some of that last year. We'll continue. We were able to talk to a lot of the players before all this happened. At the Combine, we sat down with a lot of the players, so their stories are. I've scanned through some of this. We have over 70 of these storytelling vignettes, we'll call them, and they're exceptional.
We'll go to Matt Baker, and then Ben Fisher with Sports Business Journal.
Hey, Mark, you said a couple different times that you want this to provide a distraction, but also an understanding that there's something much bigger going on. So, given those two things, what kind of tone do you want the broadcast to have?
I think the tone is, yes, we're doing a draft, and we hope that provides some entertainment, some comfort, and maybe some minor sense of normalcy. And it's clearly not a normal world right now. So that part of the draft is important, and we think that we want to do a great job of that for those reasons. And also acknowledging the fact, as I said, that it is taking place in a time that is creating a lot of stress for a lot of people. There's obviously tragedy involved, there's a lot of things involved, but also clearly heroic moments by so many people. And we think that's an important thing to get across. Be it any of the medical frontline people. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there. People working in grocery stores, people delivering the mail, all those types of things. And we want to acknowledge that the draft that we're doing. And hopefully the comfort and, again, some level of normalcy, I hope, that we're providing, within the context of understanding what's going on in people's lives, because those are our fans, okay, and those are the families of our fans. And we want to make sure that we're, and by the way, we talk a lot about what the balance is, we're still talking about it.
Ben has disconnected, so we'll go to Michael McCarthy with Front Office Sports, and followed by Richard Ryman with the Green Bay Press Desk.
Hey guys, two questions. First for Mark and Seth. What kind of potential audiences do you think you could draw for this during this sports shutdown? And then Seth, I want to ask you, what has been the impact of ABC doing its own draft on the overall coverage?
Sure. Like I guess I can go first there. Look, I'm not even going to offer a guess on the ratings. This event annually draws a really, really big audience. There's obviously a lot of anticipation this year. I think Mark and I both thought, even before all this happened, based on the quality of the class, which we've kind of lost, a little sight of over the last few weeks, which we can understand. But we normally talk about quality of class, and this one is right up there. You have household names, big quarterbacks, college stars, national champions. So I think we were set up for a big ratings year anyway, I think. But I think, because of the circumstances we're all in, I think we're just waiting kind of to see. I think we're optimistic about it. Realistically, I think you all know we don't have the competition we may normally have, whether it be NBA playoffs or other sports, baseball, that we would normally get. So I think there's more eyeballs and more anticipation. But I wouldn't even hazard a guess right now. I forgot what you said. Oh, go ahead, Mark. You want to answer that one?
Well, I have no idea what the audience is. To be honest, I haven't really thought much about it. We're so focused, I think, on trying to produce this thing. Obviously, I think a lot of people will watch, but haven't really even thought about how many. And right now, it's not that important, to be honest. Yeah.
What was the second question there?
Maureen, would you mind opening Michael's mic? Michael, your line.
Yes, the second question was for Seth. Can he talk about the impact of ABC joining the coverage?
Got it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot that, Mike. It's been a great thing for us, actually. We've for the last couple of years, we've kind of, fought, and this goes to years and years ago. I think one of the mistakes we made sort of was thinking of this only as an NFL event. And, at least on our side, over the last couple of years, we said, we're underserving a little bit of an audience here that's a, twofold. One would be a college, audience that knows these players, loves these players, spent the last 3 or 4 years with these players. And the other audience, I think and I mentioned it earlier, Michael, is that we underserved, a female audience and a general audience, and I think on the ABC side, that was something that we focused on. And last year, I was just reminded. Last year, we grew our female audience, or our female audience overall was 46% female on ABC. So that's sort of an amazing statistic of, when you can draw on that kind of a female audience for an event like this. And I think, that group, for the most part, in our group, in our research afterwards, were really drawn in on that storytelling I mentioned. The time we took to really, tell the stories of the kids, to get behind the scenes with their families. That's how we feel like we can separate the two broadcasts. And the great news last year was that, the first year we did the ABC broadcast, it didn't hurt the ESPN number at all, and from a rating standpoint. So these were new people that came into to watch the draft. So, we produce both broadcasts. So we work closely together. We use, we use the same resources. It's not a whole bunch of extra people, especially in these times. So we're pretty efficient, and we like the fact that we have given the viewers a couple different choices.
We'll go to Richard Ryman and then Alex Silverman with the Morning Consult.
I believe all my questions have been covered. Thank you.
You bet. We'll go to Alex Silverman with the Morning Consult.
Hi, thanks. I don't have anything further either. Appreciate it.
Alrighty. Let's check in with Hiroki Toda.
Wanted to ask, how could this draft be a model for maybe other sports draft or maybe other countries' draft? Thank you.
I think you said, we discussed about other drafts. Is that what it was, Allie? Other sports
That's what I
drafts?
heard. Could you repeat that one more time for us?
Yes. Since this pandemic is going, I was wondering how this draft will be a role model, maybe for other sports draft.
Got it. Yeah. So I can answer that quickly. We have the WNBA draft on Friday night. I think that'll be interesting and a lot of similarities to this one. We've worked together closely with those folks at ESPN. A lot of similar technologies being used, so I think that'll be similar. I've actually heard from some of our folks at the MLB Network, our friends over there. They're preparing for a baseball draft, so they've checked in with me as far as how we're doing this one. So I think they're already looking at some of their options as well, and we're happy to help them with some of our learnings. And then eventually the NBA draft, we'll, whether that happens on time or is pushed back, most likely, I think could be in a position of having to do this again for that draft. So I think, what Mark and I kind of, we're sort of the guinea pigs here a little bit, but, we'll have some successes and some failures that hopefully some folks can learn from down the road.
Yeah, and I think Seth makes a great point. And I also think, as in many things, necessity being the mother of invention, we're going to find some things here that to your question, years from now, we may, next year, the year after, whatever, will be incorporated in drafts, not because there's unfortunate necessity, but we figured out that, my gosh, it can be additive. We can cover things in a different way and make it broader and more entertaining. So I think there'll be a few of those examples.
And I know we do have more people waiting on the line today. I apologize, we are running out of time. So please look for future advisories. We have a couple more calls this week. And if you need anything specifically from ESPN, from NFL Network, please feel free to reach out to me or Andrew Howard. We'd be glad to help. And the audio replay of this call will be available later today at ESPNpressroom.com. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.